I think it's awesome. I think the more participation in wrestling, the better it is for everybody. I'm all about women's wrestling. I support it 100%. I think it's awesome, and it should keep going.
I think it is an opportunity for the sport to really grow, and wrestling is something that anybody can do. You know, there used to be a poster of Tim Vanny and Bruce Baumgartner with any body can wrestle, right? And that certainly should include women. I mean, it's something that only it's just you and the other athlete and the referee out there on the mat. Nobody's really going to come out there to help you, so it's just about your performance. And so I think including women and having that woman aspects really kind of grow the sport, and it's really a good thing, you know. So lots of opportunity here in the States, though. I've seen countries like Japan have already kind of beat us to the punch, so to speak, and have done really well with their programs. And I think that once we get up to speed with that it'll really be a good thing for the United States and really for the sport of wrestling around the world.
Well, it's not, to me, there's so many other people that are on it now, things that that Sally Roberts are doing right now, leading with the projects that she's doing, and I've just got great, feelings about everything coming in as emerging sport in all three NCAA divisions, and that's where everything is really going to change. And as I had said to Sally, that's the big boulder. Yeah. You get over the top of the mountain, and and she was that last push in this tipping point. And so seeing my teammates and my from other national teams and other big contributors of coming in, it is just it's really nice, because I did not like being by myself. I'm sitting back and saying, hey, good for you, let me know when it's done. I love it.
It's the biggest growing part of wrestling right now, and I think it's very important for the future of wrestling, even Greco-Roman wrestling. So for me, Greco-Roman was very important. I hope that the women can start Greco-Roman wrestling. And as a club owner right now, for me, that is really more women are coming in, and that's more of a market for us, is trying to get more women, not just to wrestle for our club, but to wrestle overall. I think it's great for wrestling. I think like we talked about before, what you learn from the sport. I mean, there's so many things you can learn from the sport, so everybody should have that opportunity. And so, if you have that energized kid, you always hear about the little boys that had too much energy and they're bouncing off the walls. Well, there's little girls that are the same way. I've seen them in the wrestling room. They're with that same energy, and those are the perfect ones for wrestling, that have all that energy and you can expend it on the mat. So I think it's going to continue to grow. Actually, I think the last few years, really it's been growing, of course, since they started in the Olympics. But I think the last few years, for me, what I've seen it exponentially grow, with a lot more girls getting involved and more people, not just girls getting involved, but more people accepting it. The old school thought of just boys wrestle is people are changing their minds, and I think that's important as well, as parents view it differently as well.
Well, I think women's wrestling is great. I've done numerous women's world championships. The one I remember the most was in Bulgaria, I believe, and that's when at that time Christy Davis won the world championship, and I was with them there. And I think it's tremendous. And that was a time when the women's was starting to grow, starting to get bigger, whatever. And yeah, I think it's a great way to grow the sport, to introduce another group of people, in this case the women, into the base of the wrestling and promote it to the world level.
I think in the United States, we've got a little different perspective than worldwide. If you travel worldwide, the struggle wasn't a legal battle. It was more, how do we coach women? How do they respond to this sport on a scientific basis? In the United States, it was a legal issue, and it was a legal fight all the time. So we had this history of an adversarial relationship, but I think thank goodness, I feel that we're past that, and we are able to grow the women's sport of wrestling with women, not say on the backs of a men's program, in conjunction with. And so I think that's going to be powerful, and we've seen some tremendous athletes in the women's ranks. I wrote a paper on the history of women's wrestling, and through that gave it sort of a worldwide perspective. And there are many heroines of women's wrestling around the world, from Norway to France, United States, of course. I've already mentioned Tricia, but I just think it's we're on the threshold of really great things happening for our sport, because it's just going to bring more and more people to this great sport.
It's definitely a way that we can grow the sport. I think that they're going to bring a lot more attention to wrestling. They're going to bring attention that we didn't necessarily have before. Because female wrestling is new to the people inside of wrestling as well as outside. And what I'm seeing is that they love wrestling as much or more than men. The other thing that I see with female wrestlers is that, not in every case, but they pick it up quicker than guys do. This is just me talking. It's my lonely opinion. And when they get into it, they're as passionate as any one that I've seen involved in the sport. And they seem to want to stick with it and give back to other female wrestlers. And I think that could only be good in the fact that we have it going on a world level and an Olympic level. Female wrestling may be the thing that saves wrestling, period, on the international stage.
I sort of focused more narrow than that. I like to see the young ladies wrestle if they want to wrestle. And I like to see them go out and just have the fun that you can in the sport, make the commitment you got to make. And I think it will gradually and is expanding. But just to go out and say, well, we're going to do this to make people like women's wrestling, I think it comes from within, comes from the people themselves. They get the interest, then they got to get active, just like anybody that wants something higher than what they have. They have to work to get it there, and they're willing to work. I've seen a lot of them wrestle, and I'm glad they weren't around when I was wrestling, because I probably couldn't beat any of them. So, yeah, I hope it does.
You can look at the sport if you want to, but you really need to look at the individuals. My wife has often said she grew up also in high school in late 60s. And back then, girls' sports were not too prevalent. And she feels cheated because of what we as males had learned, the discipline and the competence and all of those things that we learn. So it's a win-win situation, because not only will you have now a sport for those girls, but those girls will have a sport for them, that they can improve their character, they can improve representing their school, their family, and let's face it, it doesn't matter what the sport is, girls' athletics has grown. I think that one area that I don't like is that they force some of the male athletics out. That's not what that originally Title IX was, to make it an equal opportunity. But when you start eliminating a sport to bring another sport in, that's not equalizing, it's eliminating something that's already there. So let's hope that that doesn't eliminate maybe from the high school level a sport, whether it be boys or girls sport, just to bring it in. But yeah, I've officiated some girl athletes in the boys tournaments, and I can remember my last year, a girl had been beaten by this guy, and she was kicked into the coming back through in the consolation rounds, and she beat him for 7th and 8th. So, to see somebody, whether they're a boy or a girl, gain that kind of confidence in themselves, and really coming back and saying, I'm going to beat him this time, was just a fantastic thing to watch. And again, there I was in that front row seat, being able to see this happen.
Well, look, more than half of our population in the United States are women, and for us to be exclusive of that, I think obviously sends the wrong message. I think Title IX was a great thing. It expanded sports and reached out to women in a more significant way. And when I think about all that wrestling has done for me and all it has meant in my life and the things and the intangibles that it has given to me, to deny that to a certain group seems like the wrong thing. So for me, on every level, I'm all about inclusion and saying yes and welcoming people onto the platform. And for me, power to them. I hope they gain as much from the sport as I got from it.
Right now, it's the fastest growing high school sport, and it's just exploding. Like, there's so many new college programs popping up, and now there are 2 Division I schools. And at the high school level, it's growing really fast too.